Hey guys, today I want you guys to look at how your insecurities play out in your life. I think that a lot of us, when we have insecure moments, we tend to cling to certain things and act out on them rather than standing in the feeling and letting it pass and then trying to figure out what the root cause is, right? Because a lot of the time our insecurities are deep-rooted beliefs that we have about ourselves that we might not be able to recognize. They could be in our subconscious, hence why it's so important to do subconscious reprogramming. But your insecurities tend to play up in a lot of parts of our lives. And a lot of the time it's from some part of ourself that doesn't feel like it's worthy, right? That we lack, we're not enough. And so pay attention to that and pay attention to how, when you feel triggered and insecure, and see how you try to control the situation once that trigger has gone off, because that is really important when you're trying to unlearn a lot of your behaviors. Like when you try to deprogram yourself from doing stuff, it's really important to almost watch it almost like you're standing outside of yourselves. Like, at least for me, like when I'm in a situation where I feel triggered, I'm like, okay, I'm feeling it in my chest. So I'm starting to feel triggered. What just set that off? Okay, that just set it off. My normal reaction would be this, or my old reaction would be this. And now we're going to redo this and take deep breaths and calm our nervous system before we respond. Like, we're not going to react to this. We're just going to let the feeling sit for a minute and then respond in our mature, evolved version, rather than going back to our lower version where we just freak out or whatever it is, however insecurities play out in your life. So I think that it is really, really important for us to pay attention to our insecurities, try to figure out where the root belief is. Because most of the time, the story that you're telling yourself, the story that you're acting on, is a false one that you've programmed into yourself, and it's not real, right? Because we are all worthy of the things in life, and we are not here to compete, right? I am on my path, you are on your path. Yes, we are all walking each other home, but we are not here to compete with each other, right? Something that I loved from my class on Sunday was, she said, are you comparing your insides to everybody else's outsides? And I was like, what an interesting way to look at that. And I think that's where insecurities tend to pop up in your life, is when you're taking your insides and comparing them to everyone's outsides. And lots of people's outsides are a bunch of bullshit, right? These are facades. People put on a lot of masks. People act all happy-go-lucky and blah, 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 and aren't. So don't do that. Don't compare your insides to the world's outsides, and pay attention to when you are doing that and the insecurities start coming in. Where do you feel it physically? What can you do to respond to the feeling rather than react with the feeling? And honestly, don't do things like try to get controlling when you feel insecure. Don't get manipulative. Don't threaten people. When we start feeling these feelings, we grasp at everything to try to immediately problem solve, right? Because our system is in fight or flight. It is like, this is not a good feeling. We're not feeling good. We got to fix this right now. Do something. And rather than answering to that call, you don't have to. You can pause. You can be like, the story I'm telling myself is probably based on some BS assumptions that I've made. Let's unravel this. Let's pause and unravel. And that will help you. The more you do that, the less the insecurity phases you. And I know this because I've done that with lots of insecurities in my life. It just shifts once you start paying attention to it. Once you figure out the root problem, whether it's your worthiness or abandonment or whatever it is, whatever that root cause is, when you start figuring it out, the rest of the time, it doesn't bother you. I look at insecurities that I had a few years ago. I literally don't even think about them anymore. They don't faze me because I've learned to live with them and acknowledge it, push it aside, tell it to shut the fuck up, whatever it is. But it doesn't faze me because I've learned where it came from, why it's happening, how I can work with it. And has moved out of my life, and it's freaking amazing. So, oh my God, I've been talking for 5 minutes. I'm so sorry. I'm going to stop. Pay attention to your insecurities. If you are taking your insecurities and going down the negative path, that's never going to serve you, stop, figure it out, go to therapy, whatever it is. But no more listening to our insecurities.